chancellor. He was a chancellor of Patra University, and still he is an active man, working very hard. We had a recent meeting specifically on frontier technologies, what we call it, AI and all this. So we have a very good, panel of speakers today. I'm talking this on behalf of Faisal Javed, a young man coordinating everything. So because everybody is linked to me somehow, and then we have a speaker from Kazan, Russia. I've been there, and our university has a collaboration with them. We are exchanging faculty, students, etc. So that's another great thing that yes, Jamil Khan sir, over to you. If you want to say a few words in the beginning.
No, thank you very much. I should also welcome all these speakers, and particularly His Excellency Professor Adnan Badran. We find ourselves very privileged to have luminaries of the academia, and we would definitely be benefited, and not only us, but it would resonate to the people around OIC countries and beyond. So this is a great contribution. I must compliment, acknowledge, and appreciate the efforts made by the two organizations, that is FUUAST, the Federal Urdu University of Arts, Science and Technology, as well as Islamic World Academy of Science. And it is these initiatives, in fact, is required more than ever in this the critical world where the conflict is now overwhelming the events and the humanity. Thank you very much for your very enriching introduction, and I think we would be benefited by all the speakers once we hear them.
Okay, so thank you so much. Good morning to all my distinguished guests, speakers, and participants joining from Pakistan and abroad. On behalf of Federal Urdu University of Arts, Science and Technology, I warmly welcome you all to this international webinar on World Science Day for Peace and Development 2025. This year's theme, Science for Peace and Shared Prosperity, highlights the vital role of science and innovation in uniting nations, addressing shared challenges, and fostering sustainable and peaceful societies. World Science Day for Peace and Development is observed annually on 10th November under the auspice of UNESCO to emphasize the importance of science in building a better world. Today's session brings together a distinguished panel of diplomats, scientists, and educators to explore how knowledge and scientific cooperation can strengthen peace and inclusive growth, especially in developing Islamic region. We are honored to host a distinguished panel of speakers. First of all, I want to introduce to everyone from Ambassador Dr. Jamil Ahmed Khan, Star Imtiaz. He is currently Deputy Chair of Senate, Federal University of Arts, Science and Technology. He is also the former Ambassador of Pakistan to UAE, Libya, and High Commissioner to Malta. He also served with the United Nations in senior roles, including Chief Security Advisor in East Timor, Yemen, Oman, Somalia, Kenya, and Botswana. I also want to introduce Professor Dr. Zabta Khan Shinwari, Tamga Imtiaz, Star Imtiaz, Vice Chancellor, Federal Urdu University of Arts, Science and Technology, a renowned scientist, bioethicist, former General Secretary of Pakistan Academy of Sciences, and UNESCO laureate, recognized for his lifelong contribution to sustainable science and bioethics. His Excellency Dr. Adnan Badran, former Prime Minister of Jordan, President of Islamic World Academy of Sciences. And we also have a wonderful panelist, Professor Dr. Ilsur Nafikov. He will join in a few minutes. He's also sent some Head of Institute of International Relations, History and Oriental Studies, Kazan Federal University, Russia, representing one of Eurasia's oldest universities, fostering academic collaboration across continents. We have also Professor Dr. Shehbaz Khan, Director and Representative of UNESCO Regional Office for East Asia, and Adjunct Distinguished Professor at multiple universities, a globally respected hydrologist, climatologist, and science policy expert advancing UNESCO's mission for peace through science. So once again, I extend my warmest welcome to all participants joining us from around the world. Let us begin by inviting over the first distinguished speaker, Professor Dr. Zabta Khan Shinwari, Vice Chancellor, Federal Urdu University. His thoughts on the role of universities in advancing science for peace and development. Professor Shawari's contribution to sustainable science, ethics, and education have inspired generation of scholars in Pakistan and beyond. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Faisal, and with apology with all my friends because I have to parallel, I have some other things. So I just want to take 8-10 minutes from you to say my part of things, and then hope I will be listening all of you while in the car. So I requested that I maybe give on the slot so that I could share my few words with you, and then we'll hear all the intellectuals much better than me. Jamil Khan Sahab, Professor Shahbaz, Adnan, Badran, and from Kazan friends, so I will be listening to you. So what I'm going to talk to you is the role of universities in this slogan that UNESCO has for this year. You are listening to me and you can see my screen, I hope.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So the role of universities to carry on this slogan of sustainable and peaceful world. Thank you, sir. The issues that we are having, population growth in Pakistan and low middle income countries, and specifically talking about them, that's a kind of people use it as a strength, and this is becoming as a weakness for us to feed. They are malnourished, and many other things that are happening. So this one growing population that we have to cater and look after them. And then when we talk about science for development, so the primary hubs of the research and development are the universities. Unfortunately, in developing countries, they do some good research, but when it goes to innovation, then we miss the link. So that's what we will be talking about, because research, I don't need to say to all of you, in medicine, in agriculture, in clean energy, etc., are for sustainable development goals. Every year, the universities can play a role and a driver of innovation policy and global problem solving. That should be what they should have. Give you some examples of my field of biotechnology. Like now, you can test the cancer with just spit and in minutes. So these are the advancement that we are having. Then the blinds can see now. The smart lenses are coming up. And then the speech restorator, muscle stimulator, etc., etc. Smart pills, for example. And even China and some other labs are working for eternity, to have human for the whole, they will never die, they are trying. So these are the things that are happening. And then on an ignored side, which I would call it medicinal plants, my lab is mainly working on them. Now, recently, we can, have tissue engineering, your knees, when you get old, it has pain, you can have scaffold, we call it. And that will be resembling your body tissue. We have tissue culture within your knees, and this will work. And this is a business of now, last year, $1.5 billion US, it's still going on. So, of course, the science for peace and diplomacy, what I should say Jamil Khan Sahab and Professor Shahbaz, etc. are doing, so is Islamic World Academy, that we can, keeping aside our personal issues, fighting, etc., science can be used for diplomacy. We can have evidence-based policy. We can talk about nowadays, I was just hearing last night, even Professor Jamil Khan had a AI assisted kind of a vlog. And so this is the science that is helping us. But we should not ignore the key challenges: mass poverty, inequality. We have a lot of growth in 300 years, but shall I say that the wealth is in few hands? 26 individual has more money than 50% of the bottom population of the world. So that is what is inequality, and we need to somehow address it. So then we, of course, environmental crisis, economics, violence, and dual use of science, etc. Poverty and terrorism in our part of the world. Main part, we say sometimes we bracket it with religion, but believe me, it's finance also. Because I belong to a tribal area, and now people are very few, they can sell their son for a few $100, and that can be used for any misadventure. So that's another issue that we all need to address the hunger, poverty, and things that diseases, poor man diseases, infectious diseases. These are the issues that we have to. So if we look at the global burden of disease, there are a lot of issues that we still need to talk about. But the triad of troubles in the world, I talk about now global, obesity, conflict, and mental illness. The youth, I am in the university, believe me, every day when I speak about something, I get a negative feeling from the people around me because they take the negative words out of it, and the positivity of the whole speech is lost. That is what we need to address, all of us together. So the case study, for example, there are many things that were done because of science. Green revolution is one example. We had multifold of the crop yield in the last 3-4 decades that we are getting now in the developed world, as well as in Pakistan too. So that is what, and the youth bulge, I will just take one example. For example, 41% of the world population is below 25 years of age. This can be a bomb for you. You cannot feed them, or you can use it for positivity. So this is what we all have to address. And this is not a small thing that you should be doing on the modern labs, and you need a lot of billions of dollars in the universities. For example, this is an example of Chinese who got a Nobel Prize just using medicinal plants and having some drug for malaria, for example. And this plant is in Pakistan, mainly distributed in the northern part of Pakistan, Tunisia. So these are the things that even if we don't have money, we can do something by recording indigenous knowledge, taking it forward, etc., etc. So the core function of university is education and training, fundamental research, but the last part, innovation and outreach. So that is where we all have to work together to take it forward. And when we talk about the SDGs, if you talk about quality education, if you talk about good health, if you talk about climate change, if you talk about industry innovation, every year university is involved. Look at the percentage I have given in the brackets. That this much, contribution is of specifically when we deal with the SDGs. So, of course, there are challenges too, like funding gaps. Work on my university is one of that. I'm knocking every door now, and Jamil Khan Saab is helping me. Also, we both have hands and knocking the doors to resolve these issues. Ivory Tower, some universities have named, they get it, but still, we have brain drain. Some people proudly say, oh, we will get dollars out of it. Come on, man. We do something for them in the country so that they could contribute here. And politicization of science. This is one of my favorite words. When you talk about science, this is like the old era. When scientists were killed, when they said this is something, they say, oh, this is against the religious. In Christianity, I shouldn't name it, otherwise tomorrow people will come with the stones too. So that is also one of the things. So, but the ethical responsibility, finally, science is a beautiful gift to the humanity. We should not distort it. We should be really working on it. So we should have some kind of strategy to maximize the impact. And that is foster interdisciplinarity. This is what my university is now doing. AI and biotechnology and pharmaceutical science. And now Jamil Khan is helping us in, media and, outreach using the modern technology to all the stakeholders so that we strengthen global partnership. This is our common agenda that we are talking on. So the future is a global civic mission that universities in 21st century must fully embrace global civic mission, placing science, peace, and sustainable development at the very heart of all of its purpose. So that's what we really will be talking. So for that, we need what? Strong intellectual infrastructure, we have it almost. Efficient mechanism of transfer of technology from people to society and institutions. Excellent infrastructure, we have it somewhere here and there if we try to join hands together. Some capital and entrepreneurial culture, and of course, quality of life. That is what we need, that is what is in the policies hand. And we should realize this just because I work with indigenous communities. Every 400-500 years in the human history, there was some good time that you wish to have been born. You were hunter, you became agricultural development, you became industrialized, 500 each, and now this is the time where we are lucky that we should take maximum benefit out of them. The work of the years are done in minutes now. So that is what we should be really saying, that the transformation that they are there. There's a hand of Sikandar, but let me close this down and then I can answer question if we have. So what we need is primitive society, from primitive society to agricultural society to industrial society. Finally now we are in the knowledge that is the economy, that is what is there. So, but of course universities are challenged because of all this, that the concept of centuries old concept of universities are being challenged. Now universities, people say you don't need your building, you don't need your rooms, you don't need anything. This is the medium that you can even talk from the bed, even you can experiment while sitting on your bed. And that is what you can have your life and you can do, virtually things can be done. So that is that we have to adapt ourselves and all this, but then the developing country should realize this is the percent of GDP that is being allocated to the science and development. If you look at Pakistan, probably a very small dot that you cannot find at the bottom somewhere, green and at the very bottom. So that is the challenge that we all have. So the world is changing and we have to change ourselves. We have to produce change managers, interdisciplinary, commercialization, innovation. Look at the South Korea that they were having mocks, etc. South Africa inclusive university involving everybody there. So we have to learn from this and we have to do something contribution to the public good for the science with and for society. Shabazz Khan sir knows it that we were doing in UNESCO. We were taking and we were together in Jakarta and he was there, etc. And now even in Beijing. So we have to educate the next generation leaders to take science for the benefit of society, and that universities are the center, that they will influence the public, the society. They will be having all this, have to play a role. For that, universities have to have effective governance within the university. Otherwise, these slogans, we cannot. If you are involved in too much politics and other things, our energies will be wasted. So there are challenges, of course. Some I said, like where you have to compete with the world. Then the public, civic kind of activities become smaller. So that is that we have to, the future challenges that we are faced with, we have to work all together. In our FUUAST, Federal Urdu University, Science and Technology, the rule of business is no confrontation, we are trying, no compromise on principles, we are suffering, but cooperation and collaboration. These are the 4 C's that we are no to 2 C's and yes to 2 C's. Jamil Khan Sahab is leading us to have this kind of philosophy that we are working. So the future vision for the university is we are hiring effective managers. We are taking our, take down the boundaries, let others in, even with all the stakeholders, we are working with everybody you can imagine. And then ensure academic freedom and, following the rules and all this. So, but there are gaps, of course, paucity of change managers, change leaders. Even if we have change leaders, they are not trained. National spirit is dwindling, national spirit, limited collaboration, no framework exists for commercialization, lack of merit-based selection. We are facing problems with the selection boards, etc. So these are the issues that we are working on, and no succession even. So finally, the challenges that globalization, competition, multidisciplinarity, all this, we are working and we will be having translation of knowledge into action, that is equity and fair play. So there are reasons for Pakistan not going fast and just skipping some of the things, but for the research career, we have to understand the bottlenecks that we are having and we'll be working on it. So we are also advocating in the country that the PhD holders should understand that academia is not the only place for them. They have to work with other things, look at other avenues, being entrepreneurs, working on this. Even developed world is facing some kind of problem. But in Canada, for example, the PhD holder, only a few % of them go to academia, rest works with the industry, etc. And the rise of PhDs in the world, this is data, and people are working to how to maximize their use in the input. Of course, there are concerns of the culture of quality of research, competition, poor quality, etc. Funding is another issue. Assessment of research is another issue. that we have to have authorship issue, ethics, publication, etc., etc. So, but the skills that we are now thinking for the future, for the generation, active listening, speaking, critical thinking, reading comprehension, etc. We are trying to inculcate all this so that we compete with the diplomacy and the world. Now, what I conclude with the things is that who is a teacher? One who dares to teach and never cease to learn. Not the whole thing, because the world is changing too quickly. So let's encourage thinking, role models, etc. One example, for example, you can go look at the food, for example, that can be your medicine. So you have to work on all this. There can be plan for the development for successful leaders. How should they work with the things? How to integrate interdisciplinary. The upper one is a model that Pakistan or low middle income countries are going through. Unless you do it this like European did it, you cannot get a product out of it. So we have to have motivation for them. So otherwise, the publishing, like you go to the apple tree and say, "Oh, this is apple. This has red. This has white." We have to go beyond this to have science with and for society to get all. At the end, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I really we work together as a team. We all friends, like we are here, having similar thinking and similar kind of. This is what we call it our religion. So we can lead. Look at at least we can learn from the animals how they go through difficult time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry if I took a couple of minutes more. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your valuable remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, we have changed some sequence of the speakers. So now I would actually Professor Badran sent a recorded video. So we will now watch a recorded keynote message from His Excellency Dr. Adnan Badran, former Prime Minister of Jordan and President of Islamic Academy of Sciences. His topic, strengthening scientific capacity for inclusive growth in the OIC region.
Professor, we are not hearing him.
Yes, sir.
His voice is muted or what?
1 minute, sir. Not hearing, sir?
No one can't hear. We can't hear it.
No, we can't hear.
Sir, please remove your slides, sir.
I have already removed, I think.
Okay, sir. 1 minute.
इसको इधर करना ये वो तो बंद नहीं हो जाएगा देखिए आपकी तरफ कोई मसला है मेरा तो अनशेयर्ड है
Sir, now?
If not, you call the next speaker and meanwhile resolve your issue.
Oh, we can listen to the message later on because we can't hear it at this time.
Okay, sir. Okay. Now, yes, please.
Should I try to share from my end?
Yes, please. You can share. Yes, please.
Distinguished scientists,
No, it's okay.
dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to join you today to celebrate with you the World Science Day for Peace and Development. This day reminds us of the transformative power to improve innovation and to build bridges among nations. Science, technology, and innovation, STI, are the engines that power knowledge and also power economies, what we call K-economy. They are not luxury anymore to wealthy nations. They are the foundation for sustainable and realistic and inclusive growth for countries of the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Investment in science is no more an option. It is necessary for achieving development and economic diversification, food security, water security, renewable energy, and also resilience against climate change. Despite remarkable progress made by the OIC countries, the overall scientific performance of the OIC countries is still behind the developed world. The OIC region contributes about 2.5% of global scientific output and R&D. The spending average is about 0.8% of the OIC GDP compared to the global average, which is 2.3%. And furthermore, disparities in science infrastructure prevail in OIC countries. So we have to work on the quality of education. We have to work and reach innovation and better ecosystem for safer environmental conditions. To transform the challenges to opportunities, we must focus on building robust scientific capacity, human power, human resources, institutions, and also system management of resources, whether human resources or natural resources. This capacity will enable us to really walk and drive among nations of power, to initiate and create and innovate and disseminate knowledge, new knowledge and information, where those could be shifted to technologies and new industry and new techniques and technology in food security. The pillar of strengthening scientific capacity are, first, we have to invest in the human capital for sustainable development. Sustainability is the delivery of education, quality education, education which could move us from one orbit to a higher orbit in the developmental phase of our world. We need to reform education system to emphasize inquiry-based education and provides a problem solvers for our problem. To empower the youth, the future scientists and future leaders and women in capacity building and early career development in science. Building strong institutions and network among centers of excellence and universities and research scientists is a must to bring regional and international collaboration. The Islamic World Academy of Science, IAS, plays a major role in bringing scientists, leaders of the world, really to talk to each other and to listen to our annual declaration, which comes out every year from our annual conferences of scientists of the OIC country. This way, we promote knowledge sharing and we promote through conferences, publications, and fellowship. 3, promote science for development. We must emphasize basic research, basic scientific research to really provide knowledge. If there is no basic scientific research, there is no science to apply. We should bring to the mind
recording भी करना है.
entrepreneurship. with basic scientific research,
Hello.
and really with applied research, and with developmental research. We hope to align research with development, research with economy, whether economic development, or social development. We should emphasize the manhood. We should emphasize the human factor. We should bring humanity to a better living standard by opening opportunities through developmental scientific research, which brings new startup companies to open a working opportunity and really reduce poverty among our countries. Science and climate change. Climate change needs interdisciplinarity among scientists, where borders between disciplines should not be a hindrance toward integrative research to solve integrative problems. The fourth item, strengthening policy and governance. Government should integrate science and technology and innovation into their national development. 5, fostering an innovative and entrepreneurial ecosystem, building bridges between academia and industry and government. And this will unlock the potential of individuals, of scientists, and of all citizens to really proceed in progress and development of the nation. Inclusive growth means that no one is left behind. Science master the development. We should reduce marginalization of inequality between rich and the poor nations, between urban and rural communities, and between genders. This requires technical skills and ethical transparency and participatory approaches. The overall segments of the society should not be left behind. Participation of all segments should participate in policy making. Digital transformation offsets vast potential for inclusive, enabling acceleration of education and of healthcare and entrepreneurship building through digital technologies. But this participation and this potential can only be realized if we close the digital divide. We are deeply committed to science for sustainable development in the OIC region. Through our initiative and by promoting dialogue between scientists, stakeholders, and policymakers and the public sector, IAS celebrates the scientific excellence among OIC nations and investment in R&D. In addition, IAS provides a platform for young scientists to grow in knowledge, in skills, and in entrepreneurship. Ladies and gentlemen, let us remember that society is not merely about discovery. Let us remember that science is not merely about discovery. It is about human progress. It is about empowering the young for promoting peace on our planet through positive science toward development, to foster on a better tomorrow for our citizens. On the World Science Day, let us affirm our commitment as scientists to strengthen science for peace and science not for wars. Science to provide food security for our nations, to provide water, energy, and to provide stability and understanding between nations of the world. Let us remember that as scientists, we should bridge with policymakers to build a peaceful and stable future for all people in the world. Science, with its power, can transform society from poverty to wealth and richness. Let us remember also that scientists should proceed for developing human resources and natural resources and well-based ecosphere. Environment is at stake. Climate change is here and proceeding. We have to reduce CO2 emission, and we have to fight against pollution, and we have to re-establish a well-balanced ecosphere for all nations. Through science, we can do wonders, and through science, we can overcome all our problems. And through science, we can open new venues for the youth, for future generation to live in a better world, in a better planet. Thank you.
Thank you, of Islamic World of Academic Sciences. And thank you, Professor Badran, for your valuable insight on scientific and collaboration capacity building in the OIC region. Now, I want to invite Ambassador Jamil Khan Saab, Deputy Chair, Federal Urdu University and former ambassador, and he will deliver his keynote address on science, diplomacy, and global cooperation for peace and development. Dear sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Faisal, for affording me this opportunity. And once again, it's much appreciated that the Federal Urdu University of Arts, Science and Technology is in collaboration with the Islamic University of Jordan, that they have organized this magnificent program. And these steps would definitely contribute towards a better future of the world, and in particular, the OIC countries. Now, coming straight on the topic, in fact, this is in collaboration with what His Excellency, the former Prime Minister of Jordan and the President of Islamic University was mentioning, and that is the OIC Charter by itself is a demonstration, is a testimony that it's incorporated in that OIC Charter, that there should be a ministerial steering committee for the science and technology cooperation. That's also given in various segments of the SDG. Coming on the topic, and first the significance of the World Science Day. I think the world should really be appreciating that 2001 UNESCO was able to establish this platform where we are able to deliberate, and we are deliberating it even today. The role of science, diplomacy, and the peace building, bridging nations, yes, that is more cardinal than ever. That's more important than ever, that we should be able to utilize science for the better future for the humanity. And there are various examples in the present day world. It's an era where the borders divide nations, but science unites the humanity. And then these innovation, these scientific research, it brings so many segments of society without discrimination of any border, caste, creed, and religion, that they are able to really build a better future of humanity by scientific research in various segments. And this innovation dialogue can build a peaceful, prosperous world in future. So the Science Day aims to promote science and its role in society. And the very theme of this the day is building trust in science and highlighting the importance of trust, transparency, and communication. One that this day we can foster deeper understanding and scientific the mileage which we can take through the research and through the deeper studies of science and diplomacy as the bridge between knowledge and the negotiation, innovation, and understanding. It has proven that various innovation, various tools, where even in the conflicting area, once it comes to the human development, once it comes to the human health, once it comes to the climate, as His Excellency was also mentioning, once it comes to the sheer goals of benefiting from vaccines, from various innovations for for addressing those chronic diseases, the various part, even Pakistan is collaborating with the UK, with Canada, with US, and we are having some segments of research. I can talk about Aga Khan University, where we are collaborating and cooperating with various universities in a certain innovation of the health sciences. So this could be done at the government level also, and the diplomats, they are the one they can facilitate all these scientific research projects through bilateral and multilateral diplomacy. The OIC countries, they have a huge potentials, but somehow it's not really very heartening to note that Harvard University alone has more research papers, more publications than the richest countries of the OICs together, all the richest countries of having much more per capita income. They have not been able to contribute that much in the innovation, science, and technology. But now, gradually, the realization which is coming in, it appears that these tools, once developed, would also bring not only peace, prosperity, but also would have a scientific base, peace building mechanism. Imagine, I can correlate it with the recent negotiation and the dialogue which Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Turkey, Qatar had in Istanbul, and prior to that, Doha. Pakistan came up with a scientific evidence, with a coordinate, with the location, with the geometric maps. So, and it became very difficult for the other party to deny that. And that's why a framework is being drawn where the technology would be used for any deviation or any violation. So these are the tools which could become an evidence and which could prevent any violation against humans, against human, and can bring the conflict to to its stabilizing situation. For example, even Gaza, Israelis every day they are violating the international law, and with the science and technology, with a proper proof, even in the International Criminal Court, it was able to prove through the scientific tools, and that could force the parties to really refrain from going into an illegal site. So that's one part. But coming back on the research and development side, the mutual understanding through joint research and open data sharing among the countries. For example, oceanography. The various parts of the world have different species in ocean. There's different ecosystem where they can benefit each other with their research work. Climate has already been covered by His Excellency, the former Prime Minister and the President of Islamic University. The vaccine, as I was saying, the genomics research, where even the cancer treatment is now under study, And one day I'm sure that it's going to address, like the tuberculosis is almost eliminated, like malaria, it's almost eliminated, like polio, except for Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Somalia to some extent. It has been eradicated completely. So one day the science would come very handy, and which could be a better example than the example of the COVID-19, where the vaccine was developed in the shortest possible time. And it was developed in collaboration with various countries and the scientists of various countries. So all these things are the testimony of the human development. Of course, the education, the innovation, and the evidence-based policy has to be evolved. And understanding the science and diplomacy, it is again very important that the countries, they collaborate, and various regional organizations. The biggest regional organization what we have is the OIC platform, 57 countries, and their collaboration and their cross collaboration with the other continents of the world could really bring a revolution in the science and technology, which could contribute towards the peace building of the world. Even the chemical and radiological warfare, I'm sure the scientists are going to evolve a mechanism to save the humanity, to prevent the humanity from the negative use of the science and technology. And that's why it's very important. There's a science and technology, once it's developed for getting into the conflict, the same science and technology can come for the rescue of the humanity. About the development, agriculture development, once there's a prosperity, the conflict would definitely be reduced. For example, there are countries which have less than $1 a day income. Afghanistan has 82% of the population which earns not even $1 per day. So the poverty by itself is, propelling, as Dr. Zapta Shinwari was also mentioning, that is also propelling, and they create a breed, the breeding ground for the other groups which utilize them for the detrimental use of the human humans. So they are just paid few bucks, and they are used for the negative on the negative track, such as the terrorism. So again, if the prosperity is there, if the education is there, then in that case, the conflict would reduce, the peace would be built in those areas and localities. Pandemics, I have already mentioned that pandemic such as the COVID-19 and the future such problems could also be addressed. And as the allegation goes, that there were certain countries, they were able to develop this in their laboratory. So the science is the one. They can prove that whether it was developed for the negative purpose, or it just cropped up through the ecosystem of the nature. So science is the best thing, even to be brought in the diplomacy, and science is the best engine to be utilized during the negotiation among the diplomats, both at the multilateral platform and the bilateral, trilateral, quadrilateral platforms. I think the light has gone, and if it's still I am audible, then in that case it's all right. Can you hear me, Dr. Faisal?
Sir, yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I'm towards the concluding remarks of mine, because I will be overshoot.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Probably I should be just in 1 minute. I should be concluding, because we would like to hear the other speakers, and this new digital and the era where there is a gap is increasing towards the highest innovative AI tools and those countries which do not have those many resources, they probably would be left behind. So it's the diplomacy, it's the multilateral diplomacy that could ensure that the access to the new development, innovation, science, the AI should be available to those countries who cannot make that much of investment, and who do not have that much of budget. The Vice Chancellor of the Federal Urdu of Arts, Science and Technology was mentioning about the paucity of the budget in Pakistan, and the budget diverted towards the science and technology and research obviously is low. But at the same time, if the world starts sharing their knowledge, then this gap can also be covered, and that could be covered very well. So even the universities, they can generate their own fund by aligning themselves with the industries, and by aligning their research work and the component of their research work with other parts and of the world and the universities, which could generate funds for them. So it's science which can come for the rescue, even for poverty elevation. It's the science that can alleviate and it can reduce the poverty. For example, in SDG, the poverty, no poverty, or zero hunger, no poverty is SDG number 1. Zero hunger, health is SDG 3, and I've already covered health. Education is Sustainable Development Goal number 4. Water and sanitation number 6. So many things these are the platform which multilateral platform, that is United Nations, has through the General Assembly resolution been able to give a roadmap, and most of the countries of the world are now have ratified that and have adopted that and they are inching towards meeting those requirements. Industry innovation is also one of the SDGs, and building resilience and infrastructure, which is sustainable cities, that is their SDG number 11. And of course, climate is as SDG number 3. But more important from the diplomatic point of view is partnership. Partnership is the SDG Sustainable Development Goal number 17, which becomes the responsibility of the diplomats to really make sure that the partnership mechanism is augmented with all energies what they have. Once that is augmented, then the knowledge is shared, innovation is shared, and the humanity gets a chance to develop, and equality is ensured, inequality is reduced. So with that, I'm very thankful to the organizers, both Federal Urdu University of Arts, Science and Technology and the Islamic University of Jordan. So I'm very thankful to the organizers, and under the leadership of Dr. Shenwari, and under the leadership of the former Prime Minister and the President of the Islamic University. Thanks once again.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful address. Now, I would like to request, actually, Professor Shehbaz have another meeting. So we have a pleasure to inviting Professor Shehbaz Khan, Director and Representative of UNESCO Regional Office Far East Asia, to deliver his remarks on UNESCO's vision, harnessing science, technology, and innovation for peace and shared prosperity. Sir, we are honored to have with us.
Okay, can you hear me, and you can see my presentation, hopefully?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's very good. So thank you very much. I have a very tight schedule today, so I will be a little bit brief. So after all these wonderful presentations, I will be trying to bring more conclusions. As you know, UNESCO is United Nations Education, Science and the Cultural Organization. And we are working on education, we are working on science and technology, we are working on culture. So all these areas are very important in bringing the science diplomacy, which has been mentioned by the Ambassador Jamil Saab very kindly. I'm just trying to, just one moment on my computer, one small thing. Okay. Okay. So something happened. Can you see the proper display? That should be okay. Is that okay? Still okay? All right.
Now it's perfect, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, it's perfect, sir.
Yeah, okay. So UNESCO's mission and mandate is to bring peace in the minds of people. And to bring peace in the minds of people, we need to work on the areas of, as has been mentioned before, education, science, and very importantly now about the interdisciplinarity and the social and human sciences. That's what Professor Zabtash has been doing very actively with the UNESCO. And in this, the important thing is to set the standards and to bring international cooperation, and very importantly, build capacities in nations which need. Then also very importantly, we have this framework, SDGs, which have been mentioned, the 2030 agenda, and very importantly in this 2030 agenda, the main idea is to leave no one behind. So UNESCO is working on the sustainable development goals, and especially for science and technology in the area of water, in the areas of environment, in the areas of climate change and industrial innovation. But we have a very big mandate with education as well as gender equality, which is a key part of the work of UNESCO. And we are also having the International Oceanographic Commission as well. Let me introduce what we call the open science. Open science is a very important recommendation of UNESCO since 2021. The main idea is to make science open to everyone, make it available to all stakeholders around the world, to all countries, get over digital divides, get over scientific divides. But it's not just about open access journals. Open science is about the open data, it's about the open science infrastructure, and it's also very importantly, Professor Shanwari has mentioned, linking natural sciences with the local and indigenous knowledge as well. And how do we link different stakeholders at different levels? I would also like to very quickly mention to you the recent developments like artificial intelligence, where UNESCO is at the forefront, and the recent ministerial meeting of UNESCO in Bangkok on the ethics of artificial intelligence, where many of the issues of investment, like there is major investment in AI, but there are many countries who are missing completely on AI. And also there is a big gender gap, there are big issues related to the governance of AI. So that's the gap which UNESCO is trying to fulfill. Also the links of science, technology and robotics. And as in China, we say the dark factories where there are no more workers. So there are major challenges for the labor force as well. And also making sure AI is used from the point of view of development for humanity rather than to create new harms and new problems. So that area of work is an important part of UNESCO's work. So we are trying to bring these risks to the global policy level, as well as we are helping countries at the national level, and especially bringing greater understanding of how AI, science and technology can be more inclusive. And these areas also need proper regulation as well as its implementation as well. So in 2021, as I mentioned before, all member states of UNESCO, 193, including Pakistan, voted for this UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence. Now we are implementing it, and we have readiness assessment methodologies as well as AI experts without borders, AI and women. These are the major parts, and especially for the industry, with the major parts of industry like Microsoft, Google, Huawei, and others are working with us on this. I would like to draw your attention for today, where we are talking about science, technology, and the very important topic of peace. So in this regard, United Nations Charter on Human Rights is very important. The human right to education. Science is a basic human right under Article 27 of the United Nations. So if we combine the UN Charter of Human Rights with the Sustainable Development Goals, then we think about technologies and especially AI. Then we need to think about ethical science and technology, ethical artificial intelligence. That's the work which UNESCO is leading in the world, on the peaceful use of AI, on the global and intercultural dialogue to bring the best from science and technology and from artificial intelligence. From the point of view of the academic institutions, especially the Federal University of Science and Technology under the leadership of Professor Zabta Shanwari, which I am very happy to report I also visited and I found amazing faculty there. The area related to economy and labor and bringing interdisciplinarity. We have a number of our open publications and resources which can be used by the academic institutions to help build whether academic institutions are ready for multidisciplinarity, to bring the benefits of science and technology, and to bring what is best in our graduates for the future of the countries we serve, and how do we continue to bring public trust in science and technology and in AI. Also very important today is to mention the need for open data. Open science, open data, AI, they are part of progress together for the Sustainable Development Goals. And we have done a study in UNESCO for all the member states. Not many countries are ready, including Pakistan, to understand the open data and its needs and how it can harness the power of science and technology and to bring the right benefits of research and innovation in the public space. And this is an area which needs further, I would say, master level, PhD level research, as well as new degrees in understanding data and its legal as well as its scientific norms. Also, universities need to work with civil society organizations, and those organizations need to work with academic institutions. UNESCO is actively promoting such networks, and also the networks linked with the governance, where we are working with the universities of political science as well as law, like the Beijing University of Political Science and Law, where we are bringing the readiness assessment and with the United Nations University for the East Asia, like Japan, like South Korea, China, and other countries. Also, very importantly, we need national strategies. Pakistan Academy of Sciences and the leadership under the Alliance of National Science Organizations need to closely work on developing national strategies. And that's where the role of academia, especially in talent and capacity building, is very important. Building capacity, skilling, upskilling, reskilling, bringing new talent for interdisciplinary approaches. I was in University President's Conference day before yesterday, where Zhejiang University, which is in China, reported that they have introduced more than 200 interdisciplinary programs linked with AIs in the areas of business, economics, in the areas of social sciences, and so on. So we need to continue to build the infrastructure. We need to have proper technical as well as financial resources, the proper law and regulations, economic measures linking with also the displacement of workers and bringing new research and innovation. So the role of universities to bring people, values, and culture together, working with the United Nations system. Lastly, we asked a question to ChatGPT, how the future will look like with and without human oversight, with AI, without AI, and AI without oversight. So very importantly, in today's discussion, if we think on the left-hand side about the interaction between artificial intelligence and science and technology, and with the human oversight, the ideas of sustainability, the ideas of peace, which is the topic for today, the ideas of health, ideas related to different parts of our society. So we need to bring this common understanding. We need to bring AI, large language models, predictive models, the new synthetic AI, how to bring the intelligence which is unfolding itself to be responsible and to serve the needs of society. So on the right hand side, if you see the future in which big data, artificial intelligence, science and technology brings new dignity, new renewable energy, new food, new security in our societies, then I think that's where the STI for peace and shared prosperity will play a very important role. With that, I thank you from here in Beijing, and I look forward to continue to link with all of you. As a Pakistani, I think Pakistan is a wonderful country, and I think your university is an amazing university with wonderful campuses in Islamabad and Karachi. And you can link with UNESCO, and under the leadership of Professor Zabta Shanwari, who is a UNESCO laureate. He won the Ibn Sina Prize of UNESCO long time ago. We should also aim to establish a UNESCO chair in STI for peace and for sustainable development, linking with big data and AI. With that, I thank you. Thank you for giving me time and to link with UNESCO.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your inspiring address and for sharing UNESCO's vision of science and drive for the global peace, inclusion, and sustainability. Thank you so much. I know you have another meeting. So we have a last speaker, Professor Ilsur. And if you come from Kazan Federal University, in Kazan, he sent me in the early morning a recorded video. And excuse me, sorry for could not join lively because there are internet issues today. As we know, and war going on in Russia and Ukraine, so that's why I will start his recorded video. So please.
Faisal, just a few lines. I'm grateful to all of the speakers. Just wanted to say thanks to Ambassador Jamil and my dear friend, Professor Shahbaz. Thank you very much. And Faisal, you remember that we have to apply for chair. His idea was great to UNESCO.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Are you hearing?
We can't hear.
No here?
No audio.
No audio. Okay, I think there's a problem from my side. And no, I want to conclude this session. I want to say, distinguished speakers, participants, and guests, this concludes our inspiring session. On behalf of ORIC-FUUAST Islamabad, I sincerely thank all of the speakers for their valuable contribution and all participants for joining this international dialogue. Today's discussion reaffirmed that science transcends borders, fostering peace, prosperity, and collaboration for all. The recording of this webinar will be made available soon through FUUAST official channel. Thank you once again for your time and participation. Thank you, all of them.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.